Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, Ohio Patriot, accompanied by Soulless Ginger Firearms from Texas.
What's going
And for,
on?
and for today's episode, we'll be talking about how the ATF just set the date for the beginning of the Second American Revolution, which is now going to be May 13th, 2023, aka 119 days from now, when the new bullshit pistol brace ruling goes into effect, and you're now a fucking felon if you have any kind of stabilizing brace for an AR pistol or whatever the case be. It's totally unconstitutional. The ATF is not a lawmaking thing. They have no power to write law. This is all bullshit. 100%. When you actually look at the legislation itself, and this is what I'm going to say right here in the first minute of this episode, they're giving free tax stamps away. Do not take the bait. Do not register jack shit, because all they're trying to do, the second you have a fucking any kind of NFA weapon, they will immediately be able to break your Fourth Amendment rights and come into your house without any kind of a warrant. Do not give them that ability.
Exactly.
Fight the tyranny. Fight it all.
My question would be, how in the hell can they turn you into a felon when you ain't been charged with a crime?
Well, and again, it goes, and we know our friend, not enough ammo, Matt, talked about that earlier on his channel tonight, where he was saying about, the whole thought crime thing. That's exactly what they fucking try to do to me in August 2019. The FBI did, where they're like, "Oh, you said some stuff, and this might be something you might do. We don't actually have proof that you're going to do anything ever." And then told me after an hour and a half of trying to fuck with my rights and my freedoms and stuff like that, we wasted 6 days on this and just got back in their car and left. And that's the whole thing. It's the government trying to see how far they can push American citizens before we finally push back and punch them in the fucking face, honestly. And whether that punch back being an actual lawsuit or something else for that matter, is up to the individual. Me personally, I would say it's time for every gun rights organization across this country that has the ability to file the lawsuits to start filing lawsuits and start individually smacking people across the board. And I'm talking about any politician that's gone on board with this, any ATF agent, anything like that, dude. Anybody that's willing to actually be on board with confiscating people's property needs to have a lawsuit put against them right now. And the same thing with members of Congress that are trying to push anti-gun stuff. The same thing with state level anti-gunners, etc. Specifically Illinois, that did obviously the AWB this week. J.B. Pritzner, the fact that you have over 67 sheriffs in the state of Illinois right now that have already said, we're not going to enforce your assault weapons ban, but yet not one of them have actually gone to the state capitol and arrested that fucking cocksucker on anything, is absolute bullshit.
And
it's the same thing with every yes vote for that matter, too. And it's the same thing with every yes vote on the damn legislation as well, because every single one of those people should have already caught misdemeanor charges for deprivation of rights or color of law. They should already be in prison right now for the next year and a day of their lives and never allowed to elect an officer again. But because it's not a felony, they will never actually go arrest them for deprivation of rights or color of law is what it is. And it's absolute garbage. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and read the Ammo Land article that our friend John Crump put out. Well, I don't know about our friend, but he's a buddy of, well, I don't know if I really call him a friend. He's more of an acquaintance of mine. We talked when I was actually running for governor a few years back, and he's a pretty good dude. He's, one of the best autistic people when it comes to gun rights in the state of Virginia, anyway. But he wrote the following. It said, ATF unveils pistol brace rule. Everything is an SBR now, which is pretty much what they were anyway. Just, illegal SBR is what it was at the time. But it said, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which again, how you have two vices in alcohol and tobacco with an actual constitutional right being the firearms part is beyond me as an organization. It said, releases final rule surrounding pistol stabilizing braces, killing off the market for the items unless court challenges prove successful. The new ATF final rule, 2021 R-08F, was published on the ATF's website today. This will be yesterday, actually, and is set to be posted on the federal roster on Monday, or federal register on Monday. So one day before the industry's largest trade show, being SHOT Show, this coming Tuesday. Yeah, that's not fucking suspiciously convenient as well. Just like the
And
whole.
you even read it right there. It said rule. It didn't say the law.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's the thing,
and doesn't mean jack shit.
Exactly, because you cannot have a government organization, an alphabet agency, actually write law. It has to be Congress itself actually making the law. But even they don't have the ability, because even their stuff would be deemed unconstitutional under court cases like Marbury versus Madison 1803. And that's what it should have been all this time. We should have been fighting almost every single gun control in this country based on that particular ruling, because it would all be deemed unconstitutional by now. It's just like the same thing with having these gun companies in the past 25, 30 years, whatever it was, that basically cucked out to tyranny during the assault weapons ban and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, we'll make your 10-round mags now and sell them to every state or whatever the case be. And then all these states that wanted to pass them after the fact of mag limitations, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just keep making them for those states. It's like, nah, dude. Be like, we're not going to make shit here. We're going to sell 15-round mags in every state, and you can go fuck off any politician that has a problem with it. And if they had banded together then and done the stuff, 20, 25, 30 years ago when we were kids, we wouldn't be having this issue today, honestly.
Yep.
But that's the problem. Instead, they went full greed, and they were like, oh, no, we just want to make money. And that's unfortunately how the world works in a lot of cases. It's just a bunch of greedy people. But anyway, it says regulation will affect millions of Americans that currently own pistol stabilizing devices. What has been considered pistols for years will now be registered as regarded as short-barreled rifles, or SBRs, and be subject to the National Firearms Act 1934, which, by the way, has been unconstitutional since it was created 89 years ago now. The fact that it's the last remnant of Prohibition era, Al Capone gangster stuff, and that's the only reason it was created to begin with, is ridiculous. It should have gone away with the actual overturning of liquor laws in this country. So, anywho, said the proposed rule used a form known as Worksheet 4999 to determine if a firearm equipped with a pistol brace would be considered an SBR by using a point system. The ATF ditched the form in favor of a widespread declaration that almost every pistol equipped with a brace of any kind would now be considered an SBR. Says Worksheet 4999 was intended to ensure uniform consideration and application of the statutory definition of these items. Based on comments received, the department agrees that the proposed Worksheet 4999 and point system did not achieve these intended purposes. The final rule reads, said under a new rule, any firearm that is designed or redesigned, made or remade, or intended to be fired from the shoulder will be considered an SPR now. Good luck with that, with the ADA and everything else like that. So, and that's the thing. Someone who is pretty much getting to the point at the age of 38 to being damn near crippled, I'm going to need an SBR if I'm going to fire a fucking rifle at some point in the future, or any kind of, AR pistol or anything like that, dude. So I would fight them underneath America's Disabilities Act violations, dude. So anyway, it says the design includes devices such as pistol stabilizing braces, which the ATF assumes the shooter installed to be able to shoulder the gun. Also, if a firearm merely has a surface area that would allow it to be fired from the shoulder, the ATF might consider that to be an SPR as well. If it has a weight or length consistent with a rifle, which makes sense why they have the picture of the rifle there, which the fact that they're considering a rifle with a fucking stabilizing brace to be an SBR is ridiculous. It's just a fucking rifle with a stabilizing brace. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just showing how ridiculous
their arbitrary rules are.
Exactly.
Anyway, it says any pistol with a length of pull that is consistent with that of what would be found in a rifle would be considered an SBR now. It said any adjustable attachments, such as a multi-purpose buffer tube, would also automatically make the pistol an SPR. The fuck? If the shooter places an optic on their firearm that requires an eye relief that is consistent with what's used on a rifle, such as a scope, then that gun would now be considered a short-barreled rifle. If the firearm
could just go fuck yourselves, I swear to God.
Like,
this is ridiculous. They don't understand.
I swear to God, they watch.
This shit is.
I swear to God, they watched the satirical videos of the little animated dude who was the fake ATF agent talking about their own rulings, and they're just like, "Yep, that makes sense to us."
Right?
So retarded. Let's see. So we're right now. Okay, opting for hourly for being considered SBR, scope SBR. Say if a rifle has a surface area that will be fired from the shoulder, such as a firearm equipped with a non-adjustable buffer tube, then that will be considered an SPR. So essentially, if you just have something that has no brace, no 6-position stock, nothing on it, it's just a buffer tube, but you can put a buffer tube against your fucking shoulder, that's now an SBR.
Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what they're saying here. It says basically making every AR-15 pistol now an SBR. So whether the surface area that allows the weapon to be fired from the shoulder is considered created with a buffer tube, receiver extension, or any other accessory component or other rearward attachment that is necessary for the cycle of operation, the document reads. Said ATF will also look at marketing material offered by the manufacturer to determine if installing that device on a firearm will convert that firearm to an SBR. Several lawsuits involve companies suing over California law preventing the advertisement of firearms to people under the age of 18, including safety classes. It says ATF will also look at how the people in the firearms community use a gun to determine whether that is an SBR. You could use so it's literally thought crimes is what we're talking about here, by the way. It said you could use a device as intended by the manufacturer and still violate the rule if others use it in a way that is not consistent with how the manufacturer designed the device to be used. So quite literally the exact same thought crimes that I dealt with 3.5 years ago with the FBI. So
anyway. I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I know the YouTube channel we were talking about backstage mentioned this, but how many braces are out there right now in circulation?
There's got to be at least several million at this point, if not more.
Yeah, the thing is, multi-million of them out there.
Well, even just the FFLs right now, they aren't even sold quite yet.
Yeah,
you have every single one of those people. Smith & Wesson makes a gun that has a stabilizing brace. ATI Tactical makes a gun that has a stabilizing brace. You have Ruger that makes an AR with a stabilizing brace. You have multiple Daniel Defenses out there on the market with stabilizing braces on them.
Those Q Honey Badgers.
Yeah.
The CMGs.
Like everything.
Yes, exactly.
Every gun company that has made an AR-15 in the last 5 years or so has at least an AR pistol version that has a stabilizing brace or a CAC brace or something else on it.
My question is, there's probably going to be, a certain low percentage that are going to blindly listen to these douchebags.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority hypothetically won't. They don't have enough jails or jail cells to arrest every motherfucker out there. So what's going to happen?
So
are they going to try to go after?
And I'm going to be blunt about this. I think they're trying to kill us at this point, legitimately. I think they're trying to make this a rule so that they can stack up at the doors, bust our door in, and blow our fucking brains out, legitimately. I think this is literally war against the government at this point. I think it is them declaring war on the American people with this kind of shit.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And the fact that we are seeing just the complete deterioration of our Constitution to protect our rights is like, enough is enough, dude, honestly. And like I said, it needs to start with lawsuits, and that's as far as I'll go, because I'm not going to get federally swatted again. Is what I'll leave it on that one.
But hypothetically, if they even did that, because there's no way they're going to be able to suppress every one of the incidences, the hypothetical incidences.
Yeah.
So when we start hearing, 1, 2, or God forbid, multiple,
yeah,
then the other people, they're going to be aware that this is going on. So what are they going to do? They can't go after everybody at once.
Well, there's actually multiple fronts this could be fought on right now, where there's never a shot fired. There is never any blood droplets in the street at all. And it's basically, and we saw some of it happen last night on Tim Pool's Timcast, where he had Congressman Matt Gaetz on, and Gaetz was talking about how you have people in Congress that are looking at legitimately yanking funding from the ATF at this point. That's one of the starts right now to start this from happening. So you have agents not being able to be funded to actually even go stack up at the door to begin with. Another thing would be Second Amendment Protection Acts, Second Amendment sanctuaries, all that stuff like that. Whether it be by county levels, whether it be by entire states passing this legislation immediately, and being
Texas
like,
is already a
and you have
sanctuary state.
sheriffs actually willing to step up on board and be like, no, we're not going to enforce any of this shit. We're not going to literally be part of this fucking stack at the door and be a bunch of bitches for the ATF and stuff like that to help them out here. And if they come to our county, we will arrest them. Like, it needs to be people actually willing to step up, and the oath that they swore to the Constitution be that oath keeper.
Yep.
And honestly, a lot of it starts with what I mentioned earlier on. Either, I don't know if it was when we were live or before we were back chat though, but it was basically with JP Pritzker and stuff like that. It's sheriffs in Illinois willing to step up and go arrest that dude and go arrest all the yes votes on their assault weapons ban crap there. Because until you can have anybody that's a sitting sheriff or whatever the case be, as an elected official, say whatever the fuck is going to get them elected again at some point. It's action that determines where you're actually at. And my thing is, if you're willing to show the action that you're actually willing to be that oath-keeping person and go arrest that oath breaker out of office, that shows a big deal to the American people. And until that happens, I don't think anything's going to change, honestly. But yeah, I think a lot of these lawsuits are definitely where it starts, though. And this is actually something where I mentioned the first minute of this about do not fall for the bait right here. There is a 120-day grace period to apply for a tax stamp for any device now considered an SBR that was previously considered a pistol. And as it was said by the people already, this is a fucking ruse for many reasons. Not only is it a ruse to violate your Fourth Amendment rights, the fact that everybody, if you had every American right now, and you were talking about, I would say at least 3 to 5 million people anyway that have pistol braces, maybe more than that even, probably more like 4 or 5 times that, honestly. If you had every single one of them, so you're talking about potentially millions of people all applying for a tax stamp, you're going to backlog the ATF's thing to the point where this 120-day grace period, you're now a felon. You're now a felon waiting for your paperwork to go through.
Which is,
and
makes no fucking sense at all.
And that's exactly why there's no reason to even do it. Because all they're doing is, well, I think first of all, they're trying to see how many people are willing to comply with their tyranny.
Yep. It's kind of like the whole lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It was the mask mandates, and that's the same thing like that. Mask mandates. They were never law. This is not a law. It's a fucking ruling from an alphabet agency that does not have the actual physical, legal ability to do this.
Yep. 100%.
Anyway,
see, I like this saying. I've seen it for many years. I actually have a shirt that says it, but it's when freedom becomes outlawed, outlaws will be free. Mm-hmm. Only outlaws will be free.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, continuing on with this, though, it said, although the ATF states the 120-day grace period is to register a pistol as an SBR, ATF only promises not to enforce NFA rules on these devices for 60 days. So that's even more of an issue there, because you're talking about only a 2-month grace period, really is what it is. It said ATF will give a tax stamp forbearance of the $200 tax stamp fee, so basically they're giving you a free tax stamp is what it is. A tax forbearance means the ATF will not collect $200 fee, although by the law, you still owe the fee. So if they wanted to call in your debt, they could call in your debt at any time, if that be the case then. So that just will not be collected at the time. So the rule is set up that way it is because the ATF cannot waive a tax. So gunners must use e-forms to file for the tax stamp. Only individuals who qualify for tax stamp on devices with pistol stabilizing braces, if someone wanted to put the firearm into a trust, they must first register as an individual and then pay the $200 transfer fee to transfer that into a trust. Many people who own NFA items prefer having their firearm in a trust because of that. It said some states do not allow for SBRs. Gunners in these states do have options. It said they could add a 16-inch or greater barrel, converting the firearm from a pistol into a rifle. In the past, ATF has stated that pistol could never be converted into a rifle, but the regulation seems to change this determination. The pistol stabilizing brace could also be removed, and the gun owner can modify their firearm not to be able to accept a pistol brace. Gun owner can also has the option of destroying the firearm. The final option would be turning the gun into the ATF for zero compensation. So that's exactly what it is at the end of the day. It's them trying to basically buy back stuff without even paying a damn dime for is what it is.
That whole notion makes no fucking sense because
it's complete confiscation.
We didn't buy
dude.
nothing from these cocksuckers, so they can't buy anything back that they didn't sell.
Yep, exactly. Let's see where we're at now. So new regulation is expected to cost gun owners over 200. Oh wait, yeah, okay. Yeah, new regulation is expected to cost gun owners over $260 million. It is expected to cost the federal government over $3 million. In addition to the cost, it will put an increasing burden on the already overwhelming NFA division of the ATF. The ATF claims that the average wait time will be 90 days, which again is 3 months. Then, yeah, you're fucked, dude. Is what it is. If you even try to apply for this shit. So although Suppressor Shop is showing a wait time of 8 months for a tax stamp currently, so yeah, you're 100% going to be arrested for felony shit if that be the case. Then, if you even try to apply for this shit.
Because all they're doing is they're trying to acquire a list, whoever falls for this, bullshit.
Well,
so
we already know that they have a fucking.
We know for sure that so and so, Billy Bob, Jack, Joe, Jimmy, y'all all have these that we now consider SBRs and are illegal. We're gonna fuck with you because you announced yourself.
Well, that's the thing. They already have a gun registry anyway. Like we already know that that's been announced in the last year or so. I know that for a fact that they have a running gun roster because, again, being the investigation of federal swatting 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, the fucking FBI agent number 1, Timothy, literally had a fucking piece of paper in his hand, and as soon as I started mentioning gun caliber, started clicking off fucking guns I owned. So, yeah, there's no way that they don't have shit everything you bought from an FFL at this point.
Yep.
Unless you're doing every gun as private sale. And even then, it's like, yeah, somebody's got to register someplace on that one, probably. So, anyway, continuing on with this, though. So 8 months for tax stamp. Said not only will it bog down the new tax stamp application for SBRs, but it might drastically increase the wait time for NFA items such as sound suppressors. So, good luck getting your actual suppressor then, which again shouldn't be an NFA item either, by the way. So there will be challenges to the new rule. Second Amendment Foundation has an ongoing case in the federal district court in North Dakota over the new regulation. Other legal challenges are expected to shortly follow from the Second Amendment organizations. AmmoLand News reached out to SB Tactical for a comment on the final rule, but has yet to receive one at the time of the writing of this. So, yeah, it's such a bunch of horse shit, dude. Such a bunch of horse shit.
And Benito out there in the chat, yes, you're correct on all four of your statements.
Yeah. There's a picture of John Crump right there. That's the guy that was writing this article. He actually worked, he's an NRA instructor, but he's also has worked for GOA in the past as one of their, I think it was their state guy for Virginia for a while. I don't know if he still is or not.
Well, he should have stayed with.
He's a pretty good dude. He knows a lot, and again, it has to do with, that's the thing. When you weaponize autism, it can work some of the greatest people into being able to make some of the best things happen. And Crump and I are on that same page with autism. It can work great. And also, for me personally, I know for a fact that it can work, the opposite way sometimes, especially when I get really tired and I can say things I don't mean to say, but, people take the wrong way, unfortunately, and it is what it is. And I'll leave that at that. People already know that story. I'm not going to tell here today. So
yeah, it's just, but people, when you get really fucking heated, like beyond mad, anybody would say shit that off the cuff that they would never say just because you're that heated. So I try not to let myself get to that point.
And the thing,
I mean, you've known me for a while now. Even other videos I've been on, who I'm talking about, where I could have easily lost my cool, but I remain cool, calm, and collected. And I try to do that because I like to maintain what I'm saying. Because sometimes when I do get overly pissed off, shit flies out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It's
Well, the
coming out of
thing
my
is,
ass.
and I'm going to say it like this: anything that I ever said in the past year, specifically that led to some friendships that I thought were friendships to go away, I've doubled down on that, and I've been legitimate about it, dude. I said nothing wrong there, and the things that I said, if you look back into history as our actual country's founding, it is all historical fact of what I said that day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they can all fuck off on that one. Is what it is. If you got a problem with that, you got a problem with me. It's whatever, dude. I don't fucking care anymore. So anyway, going to other assault weapons related stuff. I got a couple other articles I want to talk about with this whole thing as well. So you got in the last few days, this is the day before my birthday on the 9th, you had Colorado Democrats aim to ban an entire class of semi-automatic weapons. It's at Denver in one of their first moves of 2023 legislative season. Majority Democrats, who control nearly 2/3 of both chambers in that state, are gearing up to enact a ban on what appears to be the entire class of semi-automatic weapons. So in fact, it may be easier to know what guns would still be legal in Colorado by simply reading one paragraph of the 16-page draft bill. That's insane, by the way.
Jesus
Which
Christ.
says a so-called assault weapon does not include any firearm that, quote, has been made permanently incapable, an antique firearm manufactured before 1899, a replica of an antique firearm, a firearm that is manually operated by bolt pump lever slide action, unless the firearm is a shotgun with a revolving cylinder. So they're talking about stuff like street sweepers and shit like that is what it would be. Or a firearm that can only fire rimfire ammunition. So that's actually interesting then. This is something I've actually noticed with a lot of these like AWBs and stuff like that. So you have stuff like 1522s, which is nothing more than a actual AR platform 22.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still have that stuff underneath that ruling is what it is though. But meanwhile, your center fire cartridge, your 223s, your 5.56s, all that shit's gone now.
And that's all they want.
It's so stupid. It's so fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm. And Benito, that last comment you made, yeah, you're right. That's why it's better if people can work on controlling their emotions and not, blow up, getting, like we're talking, we're not blowing up or anything. We're just expressing our unhappiness and that this is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many people that would just fly off the handle, and that's not good in any situation, especially something like this.
Yep. Anyway, continuing on with this other article here about Colorado, it says the bill embedded at the end of the article will prohibit anyone in Colorado from possessing, manufacturing, importing, purchasing, selling, offering to sell, or transferring ownership of a so-called assault weapon. A violation of the new law would be considered a Class 2 misdemeanor, but if the weapon is then used in the commission of a felony or a crime of violence, the seller would then be charged with a 6th-degree felony. Jesus. This is constitutional concerned voices. David Koppel, an adjacent professor of advanced constitutional law at the Denver University's Sturm College of Law, as well as a research director of the independent institution, said he doesn't believe the bill will stand up in court as written, said although there is some precedent for such a much narrower scope of bans on semi-automatic weapons, banning the entire class is a different subject matter. So has never been anything enacted like this that has held up constitutionally. Said sponsors of the bill, dubbed as the Mass Shooting Prevention Act of 2023, want Coloradans to believe that banning what they refer to as an assault rifle will stop mass shootings, despite no real evidence of this being true. Said Lattimore County Rep. Andrew Bosnecker, Denver Rep. Elizabeth Epps, and Adams County State Senator Rhonda Fields are the bill's primary sponsors. Said Weald County Sheriff Steve Rames also took issue with the constitutionality of this bill, saying, quote, on face value, it violates someone's Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights by enforcing them to provide evidence against themselves.
Exactly.
It's just like the magazine bill. The time and effort it will take to try and enforce this is not practical. Said Reams also referred to a 2013 bill that limited the size of a gun magazine that can be sold in Colorado. The Fourth Amendment protects against unlawful search and seizures. Fifth Amendment is the right of against self-incrimination. So Reams has long been vocal against encroachment of the gun rights. He has openly said he will not enforce the existing red flag law and told Complete Colorado this bill is even more problematic to him. He said everything about the bill is wrong, beginning with the idea that the law will prevent mass shootings, assault weapons in civilian hands, endanger Colorado streets, stores, restaurants, places of worship, music venues, schools, movie theaters, and communities at large. The current draft of the bill reads, with an assault weapon, even a firearm novice can perpetrate a mass casualty incident, said the bill. By the way, I think it's funny that they say that in the draft of this stuff, because it's like, so what you're really saying is even a novice can stop a fucking mass shooting with an AR-15 or an AK-47.
But this shit is full of fucking hypocrisy, because they're saying that they're wanting to pass this to prevent more mass shootings, but the only thing this is going to do is strip the fucking guns from law-abiding American citizens, embolden the fucking crooks and criminals to go even bigger on more rampages and shoot up, because they know they're not going to have anyone to fucking stop them.
Yep.
That's all this is going to happen. Good people are going to be defenseless. The criminals are going to fucking prevail. And what then? It's all it's just nothing but hypocritical.
Anyway, continues on, says the bill allows anyone who lawfully possessed a quote-unquote assault weapon prior to the effective date of the bill, which is July 31st of this year, for much of the law, to continue to possess the firearm under certain circumstances, such as possessing documentation of ownership, secure storage, and only possessing the firearm on limited property locations. Conditions, Reams said, puts the burden of proof on citizens rather than the state and violates due process. Not only that, it also does kind of like, when it comes to stand your ground stuff, it basically goes back to how you had to have like duty to retreat and stuff like that kind of deal. It's kind of a variation of that, essentially, is what it is as well. And it said that way, the way this requires someone to declare ownership is a massive problem. If I've owned a gun for over 20 years, trying to produce a receipt, or even a gun I've owned for 2 days, if I buy a gun from a guy in Wyoming, there is no law that says I have to have a receipt, or even bill of sale for that matter. It's a private property transaction. They are trying to create a de facto gun roster. Exactly. So sweeping definition of assault weapon that goes into the whole thing about everything it is, and we all know it's all the same shit they pulled in '94. It's the same stuff they pulled in California 40-something years ago now. 50 cal, threaded barrel, flash suppressor, grenade launcher, all that crap like that, pistol grips, everything. So,
see, my question is, I know eventually that the Illinois, as I like to say, AWB will get struck down because it's unconstitutional. It goes against the Bruin decision that was done by the Supreme Court. My question is, how long will it take for that to get overturned?
Well, see, and that's the problem, because first of all, when it comes to, and I'm going to go ahead and drop off this article because there's not really much more to talk about here. So the problem with any of these things is, first of all, you have to have a lawsuit to begin with to even start the ball ruling to actually get a decision at some kind of a court level. And the issue is, when it comes to most, American citizens, we don't have the money individually to go out there and create a lawsuit or get a lawyer, whatever the case be, to start this lawsuits. And that's why you have to have these gun organizations to step up. And thankfully, yes, there is gun organizations like FPC and GOA and stuff like that out there that are willing to step up and do these lawsuits against the stuff. And the thing I would say is, honestly, if you live in the states that this is going on in, whether it be Illinois now or whether it be, Colorado and stuff like that, be their plaintiffs. Be the plaintiffs of these organizations.
Exactly. Yep. Because the more they have,
if they're looking for
the
people,
better, stronger case
get
they
it
have.
to a class action. Get it to a class action. You and 10 of your buddies can be the people that become essentially the new founding fathers of this country, is what it is.
Yep.
Because you would be the ones getting this shit struck down in court battles. And that's exactly what it is. It's the same, and we've seen it already in places like Washington State, where they've looked for people to become their actual plaintiffs in these cases, and many people have stepped up already to do that, because these magazine bans in that state were unconstitutional and everything else like that.
Yeah, basically all you're doing is becoming an ambassador, so to speak, for the Second Amendment.
Exactly. And then something else I wanted to talk about here at a state level, in the state of Ohio, which is basically This is something I've actually talked about throughout the week with our General Assembly, and they're trying to basically get a Constitutional Protection Act on the ballot measure for May to make sure that we have a 3/5 ruling, so it'd be 60% of the vote to be able to pass any ballot measures in the future, and that's again would stop stuff like BM 114 like they did in Oregon and stuff like that, but it would also stop other stupid bullshit like killing kids in the womb. Ohio coalition moves forward with plans for abortion ballot measure. It's just absolutely sickening, dude. This is a coalition of so-called reproductive rights groups, along with the ACLU of Ohio. That's all paid by George Soros, by the way. Say they plan to have a pro-abortion ballot initiative on the Ohio Attorney General's desk by February. Ohioans for Reproductive Freedom announced the plan to do this with the help of the recently hired general consultant with experience boasting ballot initiatives on the topic in 2 other states. It's a coalition made up of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Ohio, Abortion Fund of Ohio, New Voices for Reproductive Justice, the Ohio Women's Alliance, Preterm Cleveland, Pro-Choice Ohio, and Unite for Reproductive and Gender Equality, or URGE, along with the Ohio ACLU, said the amendment would explicitly protect reproductive freedom for all Ohioans and continue to kill kids in the womb like they have already. It's fucking disgusting, dude.
It's pure fucking evil, and it's only demonic. A way to control the population so that there's no future patriots that will be born.
Exactly.
So the older patriots, such as us and older, when we die off, it's better to control the.
Well, it's like the same thing we were talking about the other day as well. It's the same thing we were talking about the other day with grandfather clauses. All it does is fuck over future generations.
Exactly. Yes. 100%.
So I don't know. I'm just, and again, like, this is the kind, like, what's ironic to me about it is, it was less than a month ago was when the last Ohio General Assembly actually went out for the legislative season. And they even said during that time, because they were doing the HJR 6, which would have been the ballot resolution to make it so you had to have a 3/5 majority vote on there for anything to pass. Because as it stands right now in the state of Ohio, it's 50% plus 1 vote is what can pass anything, which is absolute bullshit to me entirely, especially when you had multiple ballot initiatives in the 2022 election cycle that had over a 2/3 majority passing them. So anyway, yeah, it's just fucking completely disgusting. And the worst thing is, we already have, this is the thing, when you can have like a single judge basically put stays on stuff, we've already had a stay in a heartbeat bill at this point, which should be 20 weeks. It should be, or wait, is it 20 weeks or 6 weeks? I can't remember now. I think I want to say it's 20 weeks, which is 5 months, by the way. You have a baby in the womb for 5 months at that point, dude. If you're killing a kid at that point, that child can be born alive. I know that for a fact because of the fact that one of my cousins who was born a little over 5 years ago survived at 22 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And Benito, you are correct with that quote.
This is exactly why I am extremely pro-life when it comes to things.
Oh, yeah.
I am always I'm going to reiterate that, actually. I am pro-life of the innocent who have never done anything wrong. I am 100% pro-death penalty of the guilty, specifically people that are mass murderers, pedophiles, etc. So, but yeah, it's just absolutely infuriates me, man. It really does.
I believe we are living in the end times because it goes with what Benito was saying, because, good is now evil is now good. They're fucking indoctrinating our kids with not only CRT, but with the fucking transgender bullshit. It's just, the devil is hardcore at work right now, and we need God more in this country now than ever before.
And then going back to the pistol brace thing, full circle. This is from Fire Policy Coalition about 3.5 hours ago on Twitter. Said essentially converting them. Translation: the braces don't actually convert them, but we are more interested in protecting the ruling class's higher hegemonarchy than facts. Yeah, this is from that idiot Steve Duddlebeck. By the way, this douchebag right here, Steve Duddlebeck, this motherfucker tried to run for AG of Ohio in the 2018 midterms and lost handedly to Dave Yost. Yeah, it said certain so-called stabilizing braces are designed to just attach to pistols, essentially converting them into short-barreled rifles to be fired from the shoulder. Therefore, they must be treated the same way under the statute. This guy is such a fucking ass clown.
Well, that's like fucking Maxine Waters or oh, what's her bitch ass face is actually a representative here in my state. That black woman, I can't remember her name.
Sheila Jackson Lee.
There you go, Sheila Jackson Lee. Oh, fucking AR-15 weighs as much as, would she say 10 or 15 empty boxes, or weighs much as a berry? I don't remember, some stupid shit.
Yeah, it was like as much as like 16 boxes of like heavy stuff or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you fucking retarded. These people do not know anything about what they're speaking on, and they're the ones passing fucking laws.
Yeah, and if they actually, like, here's the thing. If the ATF actually had to have, like, military be a part of the stack and stuff to actually do things, like, good luck with that when you have 68% of active duty military believe the Pentagon has now been politicized. So, yeah. That's a huge number right there, man. And I think you could easily see a break off in that. And I've said it before. I think there'll be some people who will legitimately toe the line and stuff like that. And there'll be other people who will be like, why are we driving down my road? Why are we going towards my house? Why are you trying to kill my wife? Or family, or whatever the case be. So, and unfortunately, some of them it'll be not until that point that they actually have that be a situation then. So, but yeah. And then there's another one. I'm going to go ahead and do the Twitter account again, because there was another one here from FPC a few hours back here. It says, ATF pistol brace final rule is a train wreck of intentionally arbitrary, and we have no doubt they look forward to shooting your dog over it. And it talks about ATF final brace ruling and all the different crazy shit there and whatnot. Surface area. The what? Yeah, it's Jesus. Like, It's just so fucking dumb. It's like the stupidest fucking thing ever made. And yeah, like I reiterated, fucking 40 minutes ago at this point, like, do not fall for the trap. Do not register anything. Be part of a lawsuit against these fucking people. If the Second Amendment Foundation is looking for plaintiffs, I'll tell you right now, Ohio Patriot Education Network is going to be one of the first fucking organizations at a state level that would join a fucking lawsuit. And I would be the head of that fucking lawsuit, honestly, on that one. And the same thing with everybody else, dude. I would say any individuals out there, any organizations at state level, like, if you have the federal organizations willing to put the money forward and pay for the lawyers and stuff, dude, join up on the lawsuits if you can. Figure out a way to do it. Because the more lawsuits we have against these people, the more we can, start nickeling and diming them, chipping away at the stuff, the more likelihood that we are going to be able to protect our constitutional rights finally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until that time that we can finally have a true, respected, actual constitutional republic again. And this is why, honestly, I am to the point where, and I'm going to say it like it is, and I've heard people say this, that there's possibility of there being lawsuits right now based on the fact that you have common use of military equipment and stuff like that, being military used, whatever the case be. We need to go after them on that one, even to get hand grenades and RPGs. And I mean that deadly seriously. The American people should have the access to both those weapons right now.
Well, I mean, that's what the Second Amendment was created for, is so that the American people could have equivalently what the fucking military has. Because the Second Amendment was designed and written for, if the government becomes too tyrannical, it's our duty to, oust all of them and implement a new government. Yes. And people, I love this when the anti-gunners be like, oh, so we should be able to own nukes?
Yes.
No, I don't think the government should have nukes. But if they do, why not? I mean, it's our right to own.
Well, no, I would actually agree on the nuke part. And I've said it before. I think, honestly, if we were smart as a world at this point, we just have every single nation denuclearized just to make sure that that's not a threat anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
The problem is, though, they're never all going to jump on board with it, is what it would be. Actually, I've had the scenario in my head for a while of where you just have like 50 or 60 cameras around the world just going consistently for like an X amount of time or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows like the breaking down of like nuclear weaponry in every single country, like one at a time. And it just has like the number of like what's left or whatever. And eventually it just goes all to zero. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Like, if you have the money right now, you can legally go buy a cannon. Mm-hmm. You can go buy a fucking tank. Mm-hmm. You can even go buy fucking used F-16s or F-15s, helicopters. You can go buy all that.
Yep.
If you have the money, because there's a guy, I don't remember his name, but he owns the largest private Air Force, I guess you'd say, because he owns a shit ton of fucking jets.
I think you could actually technically own some kind of an MRAP as well. I don't know which one it is, though. There might be a couple different ones, actually. So.
Yeah, we buy fucking used military Hummers, Jeeps, fucking etc. basically.
Yeah. Well, that was where Jeep actually made their name back in the I think it was World War II, actually. Maybe it was Korea. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure which one. But it was because they would go fast and everybody's like, I want one of these when I come back home. And then they started making them.
I would love to have an old Willys Jeep. I've wanted one since I was probably 8 years old when I first saw one and fell in love with it. But yeah, we should own. It's our legal right as an American citizen to own what the fucking military owns.
AR-15 is trending right now. Let's see what people are saying about it. Let's see. This is the real power of an AR-15. No civilian should have access to this terrifying weapon of war, says some dumbass.
AR-15's never been in a war.
Well, they're playing a fucking video game and showing it shooting down a goddamn helicopter or a fucking plane. Like, you're fucking retarded, buddy.
Well, it's like Biden fucking said, a 9mm will blow a lung right out of your body.
Ooh, look at that Chick-fil-A AR-15 variation.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's actually cool.
That is some sexy shit right there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I want that. I want that so bad.
That's a lot of money they put into that.
Yeah, it is. Well, especially like, and the problem too is like when you start having it be like those various colorations like that, and you get like one single nick in it, and then it's just fucked.
I know, right? One little scratch. My OCD would be like, oh my God, I can't handle it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Iraq Vet 8888 on my birthday said, anti-gunners in our government saying the AR-15 is a weapon of war that doesn't belong on the streets, while simultaneously arming 87,000 IRS agents with AR-15s is peak hypocrisy. They aren't even hiding it anymore. Yep.
Well, exactly. Like I've said before, the government right now has no fucking right whatsoever to tell us that we can't own guns. They have no right to even try to ban them when they fucking pulled out of Afghanistan and left all that fucking armament for the enemy to commandeer and control. And back under Obama, the fucking Fast and Furious program that funneled fucking weaponry through Mexico. Even some of the weapons ended up in fucking Paris that ended up in a nightclub shooting there. Yep. They have no fucking right to sit there and go after us when they're fucking criminals.
Sorry,
and traitors
right now. So this jackass named David Pinson claimed this is what a standard AR-15 bullet looks like close up. No one needs this for home defense.
That's not a fucking.
That's not even a fucking 50 cal. That's like a goddamn military munition of some kind for like probably some like Barrett gun or something like that.
I forget what that is, but yeah.
By comparison, I'm going to go ahead and screen share what an actual 5.56 looks like, which is that teeny ass little thing right fucking there. That's what a real AR-15 round looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that guy's just a fucking moron entirely. And the saddest part is going back to what we were saying about, you know, Sheila Jackson Lee and company like that. That's what they believe that shit actually looks like. Because they've never actually seen a fucking round close up is what it is.
It's pathetic, and they're the ones that are creating fucking laws that are making us fucking suffer and lose our rights. It's ridiculous. They're fucking just hypocritical pieces of shit that are the real criminals, but they're trying to make us law-abiding citizens into criminals.
Yeah.
They're fucking traitors.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, one thing that pisses me off, I know this is a slightly off topic,
that's fine,
but the fact that they want to put a bust of Vladimir Zelensky into the fucking White House.
I went off on that last night.
Infuriates me, dude. There is no reason that a dictator from another country should have anything in our fucking White House. And the fact that they held the Ukrainian flag in Congress, like a week or so ago. Oh, that's
Gen 3 with the window in it. This is like, I think 12 or 13 when I got on sale not long ago. So yeah, that's the shit, by the way, that they've banned now in Illinois. This mag and anything else that holds over 10 rounds. So
it's retarded. And
these, by the way, these are all very much common use. Maybe not this particular one, because I guarantee there's a lot less that actually have windows in them and stuff. But yeah, any kind of Magpul mag or any kind of other 30-round mag has been in common use since at least the 1970s. A couple years after Vietnam is what it was.
Well, fucking Illinois is retarded anyways, because like Chicago, as some of our buddies that we hang out with has mentioned, they can't even own a fucking BB gun in Chicago.
Yeah, that's so ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, let's see what else the wealth of leftist knowledge from the AR-15 thread brings us. All right, let's see. Got this guy saying,
fucking classic.
Nothing beats Grush Kreutzmann describing shooting an AR-15. Fucking Obama with the fake ass crocodile tears. Yeah, sounds about right. Let's see. Then we got Assault Clip 2A voter saying, if we treated an AR-15 the same way we treated an automobile, regulating guns like cars, you may legally buy as many cars as you can afford, as often as you can desire, no background check for anyone or from anyone, with no waiting period, any kind you choose, even high-capacity automatics, so forth and so on, and then just goes into the whole thing about that. Let's see.
The thing is, the big difference between owning an automobile and owning a gun. One is a fucking constitutional God-given right. The other one's a fucking luxury. It's not a necessity. Well, technically it is, but I mean, it's not a right. It's a privilege to be able to own a vehicle and drive it on the roads.
Man, this guy's just shit talking everybody apparently in this one. This dude that's going by Civil Roar said, masculine men who are unvaccinated and know what a woman is use gas stoves to cook bomb steaks. They shoot with an AR-15 in their field. Shoot with an AR-15 in their field from their master bathroom after saying a morning prayer to save children from drag story hour. Like,
jeez.
Jesus, guy. Calm the fuck down, bro. Seriously. But anyway, then we got our boy Maj Turi, the guy that's Black Rifles Matter. He's the guy that's also done a bunch of teaching people in various hoods and stuff like that how to actually shoot a gun properly for many years now. Said breaking Trump's bump stock. This is on January 7th. Said breaking Trump's bump stock ban has been struck down in a 13-3 decision. The ruling states the ATF overstepped with the ban on non-mechanical bump stocks and says it does not make an AR-15 a machine gun.
Nope, and it was banned under false pretenses to begin with.
And
Because
that's the
even
thing,
the
like,
ATF put a report out after the Las Vegas shooting, which got swept under the rug really fucking fast.
yeah. Well, like I've been
That
saying for
said
some time,
no
though, it's
bump
like,
stocks were used in the commission of a crime ever, including Las Vegas. So
not
they
only
said
that, though,
themselves
but
that
it's
none
like,
were used.
how long was it when that lawsuit was filed to now it took this beginning of this year for it to actually be ruled down and stuff like that, struck
It
down
was
finally?
2017 is when Las Vegas happened. October 1st, I think it was.
Yeah, so it's probably like 28, beginning of 2018, maybe when it actually was enforced then.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So you're talking about almost 5 years then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people ain't gonna wait that long if they tried to fucking be like, oh no, everything's an SBR now. Like, that's what I fear. I don't fear myself doing anything. I don't fear, people on this panel doing anything. I fear the random motherfuckers that maybe are, military combat vet guy who has nothing left to lose and shit like that, being like, you know what? I didn't fight for this fucking country to have these cocksuckers steal my shit now. Fuck them. And just basically go to war at that point. I should say go back to war at that point is what it would be. But anyway, let's see. We got Stocking Mill Coffee said, liberal vets, an AR-15 is a weapon of war. I called one exactly like it. I carried one exactly like it when I was in Iraq. It's a weapon of war meant to kill people.
No, you didn't.
Same person next tweet. You can't fight the government. They have tanks and drones. AR-15s are useless. Yeah,
they carried an
right.
M4 or an M16. AR-15 has never been in battle.
No, the ARs are the civilian equivalent that is semi-automatic only, and it's only because we cannot have full auto thanks to stuff like the Hughes Amendment of 86 and the NFA 34 that requires you to have a tax stamp of $200 or more, or $200 for the stamp itself and registering it, obviously.
That comment was almost an exact, almost verbatim of what Biden said, that we wouldn't stand a chance against them because they have F-15s and bombs, and an AR wouldn't do nothing against it. Remember?
Yeah. This person is actually speaking some sanity right here. This Barrington Martin guy said, someone dies at the hands of gun violence and Americans blame the gun. I will never understand that. Or a mass shooting happens with an AR-15 and Americans blame the AR-15. This is just silly thinking. Exactly.
Yeah. There's been many people that have stopped crimes and stopped shootings, mass shootings with the AR-15, like boy down in Sutherland Springs in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name off the top of the hand, but
Stephen Williford, I think.
Williford, yes, thank you. Yeah. He stopped that mass church shooter with his own AR-15.
Yep, and he was also an NRA instructor of all things.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not trying to sit here to say the NRA is good people or whatever the case be, because Wayne LaPierre can go fuck himself. But that's besides the point. But no, the actual organization over the decades, because they have money and stuff like that, has built a lot of good stuff, and they've created a lot of good instructors out there. Is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that leadership with them can suck my dick, is what it is, personally. So, because again, going back to the 86 ruling a year after I was born, they were the motherfuckers who helped write that shit for the Hughes Amendment, and that's why they can go fuck off. So anyway, let's see. We got U.S. Ministry of Truth. Most people don't know that the AR-15 is actually 15 assault rifles glued together. This is why it's so deadly.
Jesus Christ. I don't
know if they're being for real or if they're just being sarcastic on that one, but it would be nice if they had a little sarcasm sign after that or something.
Yeah, I think that was a satirical statement.
I think it is, but that's the sad part. People are gonna believe that it's fucking fact.
Right.
Because you got dumbasses out there.
Especially if they ever saw that Gilboa rifle that's basically two ARs stuck together.
So you got Divine Algod saying, this is an AR-15. No one needs an AR-15 for duck hunting. Obviously, that would be what's his name? Ian.
Is that a howitzer?
I'm not sure what that is going to call. Probably, yeah. Probably is what that is. I know it's something from back in those days, like World War I, II, whatever the hell it was. So, yeah, just fucking stupid.
No, that was a 22 long rifle.
Let's see. Shit. Just went way forward on that one for some reason. It jumped on me. Let's try to see. Ah, damn. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, it's Freedom USA guy said, I'm old enough to remember when the corrupted FBI raided President Trump's home with the AR-15s as he was a cartel drug, as if he was a cartel drug lord. No raid on the incompetent Biden home, garage, or offices. Complete double standard. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Then we got good old Eric Adams there. Says New York can't afford or can't cater to migrants' cultural taste on food. Not sure why the hell that's in there, but okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because it has to do with the fact that they're a bunch of anti-gunners. Who the fuck knows? Let's see. We got somebody saying Illinois banning AR-15 style rifles. Up the age to 21 to purchase 10-round purchase guns. A 10-round magazine limit. Must register your AR as grandfather clause, which also creates a registry and roster, by the way. Said, here I thought my Oregon, we Oregon, here I thought, should be we in Oregon, would be first with Measure 114. Judge is holding it up here. I will not comply. Good for you, sir. That's how it needs to be for everybody. See, then we got some jihadist-looking motherfucker there saying he is so scared that an unarmed woman that he's got his finger almost on the trigger of an AR-15 and second hand probably on the sidearm. Yeah, kind of does look like that, actually. It's pretty fucking close. Also, that is not an AR-15. That is a literal military M4 M16 that was left behind by dumbass Biden and company. That actually has a fucking grenade launcher on the bottom of it.
Yeah, 40 Mike grenade launcher.
So, yeah.
That is an M4.
Yep. Let's see. We got somebody doing the video from good old Lord of War. Such a great movie. The AK-47.
Oh yeah, that's another reason why they shouldn't have a say in banning guns or anything, because they don't have a right, because they traded the fucking merchant of death for a fucking basketball player.
Let's see, then we got I see AR-15 is trending again. Did you know we can print an AR-15 just like this one? Nice. Yeah, 3D printing is
going on with that mag though.
I don't know. It's obviously 3D printed magazine somehow. It looks fucked to shit, honestly. But
why is he holding that with his feet? That's weird. But yes, 3D printed
is
a long way.
He blew him off with the first batch.
Damn.
Obviously, I'm just kidding around.
I know.
I don't know. That is weird. Like, what is with the feet pick? I agree with you on that one. I thought it was his hands at first. I didn't realize there was a big ass toe in there until I looked back for a second.
But under the new law, that's a felony right there.
Yeah, yes it is. And what I was saying earlier about the short barreled rifles, like, yeah, so if you had a barrel length of that length right there, which is what, 6-7 inches, something like that, probably at most, maybe 5.5,
probably 7.5 inches.
Yeah. And then you have the buffer tube. If you put an extendable fucking 6-position stock on there, that is an actual SBR, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, that with a pistol brace on that is not a fucking SBR. It's an AR pistol, period. So, and of course you got fucking Rams demand action for gun sense in America. God, look at the fucking scowl on that cunt's face.
She looks batshit. She looks crazy.
This woman, I swear to fuck, looks like every single fucking MDA bitch here in Ohio. Like Christine Woolworth is a great example of that. Like she kind of looks like this woman. And the worst part is they're all older like this. They're all like mid to late 40s, early 50s, 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. And it's because they're like, oh, well, you know, I had a kid that my kid doesn't talk to me anymore because I'm a piece of shit. And it's like, I'm going to go be a piece of shit with all these other pieces of shit over here. And we're going to put these Moms Demand Action shirts on now.
I don't know how anyone could take Moms Demand Action seriously, especially after the shenanigans they pulled when Texas passed or was trying to pass the constitutional carry. Because in the when they were talking about how 81% of Texans don't want constitutional carry, that shit was immediately called bullshit because they found out that statistic they were using was a poll that they did on like 100 fucking people.
Well, it's the same thing in Ohio here. You had that motherfucker Cecil Thomas, who's an ex-cop out of Cleveland, who's now been a Moms Demand Action plant in our state legislature for at least the past 10 years now, and has not only now been termed out of our state Senate, has now flipped to our actual state house at this point in this General Assembly, and wanted to sit there and bitch and moan last year about how over 90% of Americans support universal background checks, blah, blah. Fuck off, dude. No, we do not. What you were talking about is some bullshit poll that was done down in the Columbus area around Ohio State, where you had like 500 people be asked, do you support background checks, yes or no? And they said yes. The majority of them. And that's exactly what it was at the end of the day. And then it became something 90% bullshit is what it was. And they're trying to claim universal background check crap, which is absolutely unconstitutional to begin with in general there. So, anyway. Oh, sweet. See, we got this Andrew guy saying, thanks to 3D printing, we now have miniature AR-15s hitting the streets. These miniature assault rifles pack the power of a 22 long rifle, which bounces around inside you. This one even has a silencer on it. So nobody can hear you shoot. The horror. Again, I'm not sure if that guy's actually being satirical or not on that.
I think he is, because those have been around for a couple of years, and all it is.
Yeah, those are like the little goat guns or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not even, they don't even, they function like mechanically like a
real
real
it shoots
gun.
like a little projectile.
It doesn't even shoot anything. It just has like fake bullets that just simulate,
Yep. Oh, here you go. Moms demand action for gun sense in America. No one needs a deadly weapon of war like the AR-15, while showing, what is it, a fucking saw, I think?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's like a military saw.
Yeah, M240. It's M2. What is it? 40 Bravo, 42 Bravo,
something like that. Yeah, that's definitely a fucking saw.
I would love to have one of those.
That's not even a fucking kid. Like, Jesus, if you're gonna shit talk ARs, man, at least have the decency to show an actual AR in the fucking picture.
Yeah, it's an M240 Bravo, I believe. I can't look it up right now because on my phone.
Okay, yeah, this dude is making jokes apparently, because in the comment section there he said, I can't believe people are falling for this one if it's an actual AR-15.
Never.
Well, and it's sad though, because you're making a joke, but not really, because you have people being stupid enough to fall for it. And then it's like, all you're doing is continuing to provide more ignorance in the world.
Exactly.
So,
in a way, I get what he's trying to do.
If you're a child, but yeah, go ahead.
I get what he's doing, you know, showing the hypocrisy and the retardation of them. But all he's doing is giving them
fuel.
Exactly. The feed in the beast.
Yep. Let's see here. That name sounds familiar. Richie Torres. Rittenhouse chose to arm himself with an AR-15 style rifle. Pour gasoline. What? Pour gasoline on a flammable situation and shoot 2 people to death. Instead of showing the slightest semblance of remorse for the lives lost, Rittenhouse expresses no emotion beyond self-pity and self-conflagration.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Jesus Christ.
That dude is fucking retarded. Oh my God, there's so much to unpack.
I'm gonna look. I swear to God, like, this guy's name sounds so familiar. He's either March for Our Lives, or he's a state lawmaker someplace, or he might even be federal. Actually,
I know that name. I just can't.
Oh, it does say Congress. It does say Congress. He's a fucking U.S. rep for the Democrat Party out of New York.
Makes sense.
He is 34 years old. He's born in 1988. He represents the 15th district in New York since literally last year is what it was. So he won the 2020 election cycle. Or no, not last year, 2 years ago. 2021. So yeah, he won 2020 and then he re-won election last year is what it was. These are the people writing law, for God's sakes, man.
Apparently he didn't watch the trial.
Me, man. Like, none of them did. And they will never even talk. Like, okay, I understand, obviously, Rittenhouse didn't know that fucking Joseph Rosenbaum was a pedophile or Anthony Hoover was a wife beater and shit like that. It doesn't matter. We all know that after the fact. The fact that what he knew was there was a dude who was trying to assault him in a fucking actual car park or I should say, in a what do you call it? Car lot where cars are being sold, trying to grab his rifle and forcing him to fire in self-defense, only to then be attacked by another jackass with a fucking skateboard who was trying to beat his fucking brains in with the wheels of a skateboard. That's all he knew was, I am protecting myself. I am trying to survive this deadly encounter.
While before that, or during that, tried to take his weapon away.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then have a third fucking person literally point a fucking pistol at his head.
Huh. This person was talking about people, civilian armed forces in Ukraine using semi-automatic AR-15s. That's interesting. Yeah, taking 3-round burst there.
How did they know that semi-auto? That could be an M4 with a selector switch. That they just have it on semi-auto.
Exactly, because he was pulling the trigger multiple times to fire those 3 rounds. So, and that looks like it. And honestly, the coloration of that looks like it would be military equipment as well. And even the pistol in his
that's a fucking
sidearm looks like a Beretta or something like that the military would use.
Mm-hmm.
So, see, then we got somebody saying, I don't know about your Meemaw, but mine can handle an AR-15 just fine. That's what we need, just some crazy ass grandmas running down the street with ARs and shit.
Well, that's like what's her
somebody claiming these are AR-15 shells. Fucking nukes. Jesus.
But she shoots fucking I've seen her shoot Barretts.
Let's see what this guy said. As the Colorado legislator looks to strengthen gun control laws this session, the group Guns for Everyone is offering a chance to win an AR-15 to any person who attends a committee meeting or hearing to oppose the measures. Good for them. Good. That's what it needs to be. And as I've said before, if I ever become governor of the state of Ohio, one of my first measures is literally, we are arming everybody that's legal citizen in this fucking state. We're going to buy out High Point's inventory and we're going to arm up everybody at that point with it. I'm not kidding. I'm actually going to make a deal with them if I can.
Make a mandatory that each household owns at least one gun.
It wouldn't be something like that. What it would be is you'd basically, I don't know if you ever remember Tim Pool talking about the Department of Gun Services.
No.
So he was making a joke about U.S. military or U.S. government being there should be a Department of Gun Services where you can go get a free gun at. Is what it is. I would actually make that a reality at state level if I was governor. I'd be like, just come here, you get this, we teach you how to shoot it, and you can go home with it. So, got some chicks with their old shit.
It's gonna cost some money.
Okay, there's people actually showing different rounds. Let's see. It said, what genius is holding is not an AR-15 round. Okay, this is from the guy that we showed about earlier. Said to show you the description here, I took a pic of a few rounds in my case. I circled the AR-15 round, left to right, 9mm, 223, 30-06, 12 gauge. Add an iPhone brick and Sharpie for scale. Said they think it's a 50 cal, what that dude was holding earlier, but I think it's even bigger than that for that matter.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. That was not a 50 cal round. That was, I want to say that's like a fucking round that you would see on like a Black or an Apache helicopter or something.
For some reason, I was thinking that the that iPhone charger thing at the top of it, I wasn't thinking that was the plug. I was thinking that was 22 rounds sitting on top of it.
Right? Yeah, it kind of looks like it.
Like it. But no, it's the iPhone charger, and then that's the 9mm, 223, 5.56, 30-06, 12 gauge, and then a Sharpie. So, yeah. Like I said, they're teeny ass rounds, dude. Like,
yeah, they are.
The whole point of the 223, 5.56 was it wasn't meant to actually kill; it was meant to wound, for the most part. So, anyway, All right, I think we're pretty much tapped out on this one, though. Let's go see why Mega Millions is trending real quick. See if anybody actually won or not. Lottery advice. Tomorrow you find you are holding the winning ticket before anyone finds out. Call everyone you know. Tell them you have an emergency and need to borrow $500. They will likely all ignore you. This will come in handy in a few weeks when they find out you won. It will make it much harder for them to ask to borrow money from you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I think in that case, it's also telling you, like, okay, this person deserves to have some cash or whatever. I mean, the whole point, my thing would be on that one is, in the state I live in anyway, you don't have to be putting yourself out there. You can do it anonymously, and that's exactly what we would do if we won. So you would never know that I won. You would just know that, like, there's a shitload of different things being called insert state here Patriot Education Network, and they'd all be funded with millions of dollars in their coffers. And then they probably figure out, like, oh shit, he did win the fucking Mega Millions.
Right.
So,
I won't tell y'all one, but there's gonna be signs,
yeah.
or however people say it.
You getting ready to check my Mega Millions ticket as a clown, apparently. Person who will actually win the Mega Millions will be like, I'm in danger. Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, or like this guy. Like, what are you going to spend on? Coke and hookers. The fact that that was that guy's legit answer, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like that. And that's why people go broke in 5 years or less that win most of the time.
Yep.
Because you have no real plan and you don't give a shit, is what it is. But yeah, they said
I
something
would
about
not
the
do
payout.
a fucking interview saying that I won the money, because that would just, people know who you look like or what you look like.
Yeah, cash option $724.6 million. That's a good deal.
That means no one won then. It went up.
No. That's just what it was for tonight. This was the win numbers for Friday. Yeah. Yeah, it was 1.35 billion and the cash option was 724.6 million. So I don't know if anybody won or not there, but
we'll probably
if
find
I win
out.
the Mega Millions jackpot, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs. A big old basket of eggs. I like it. That is a lot of eggs, actually. That's got to be a few dozen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
I
every
won't
chicken
have
coop.
one, but 2 gas stoves in my kitchen.
Let's see.
So is that saying someone won?
Maybe. I don't know. Let me go. I'm going to go look and see real quick. Let's see here. Motherfucker, there was one ticket sold. It's out of Maine. Matched all 5 numbers. Well, I know I have family in Maine, and I haven't gotten calls yet, but hopefully that was them winning. So,
well, congrats to the winner.
Yep.
It's a huge blessing to win that kind of money, especially in today's day and age.
Yeah. Yep, jackpot winning ticket sold in Maine. Yeah, like I said, hopefully it's my family and they can give me a bunch of money. That's over the case. Just a couple million. That's all I need, honestly.
Right.
I could turn some property and stuff. Actually, we were making jokes last night. My mom and I were about, like, if we actually won, like, what the first thing we'd do would be. And it'd be like, well, obviously, you know, we pay off debt eventually here in like step 2 or 3 or whatever. But the first thing we'd do is buy the house across the street from us now. It's for sale. And I'd be like, I'd also buy a bunch of other property in this state and a couple others. So be like, hey, who wants to come for a visit? Here's your summer home.
Yeah, there's property around me that's for sale. That's like the largest one I know of. It's like 150 something acres.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy something like that and put a house right in the middle of the property where I have no neighbors around me.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, it had to happen eventually that somebody's going to win, but unfortunately it was not me. So got to keep doing these every day then with everything else. So But yeah, I think we pretty much beat this horse to death at this point when it comes to the unconstitutional tyranny that we're seeing happen in front of our eyes. So I think I'm going to call it a night and go from there. We'll be back most likely. I will be doing a Sunday show in place of the man formerly known as E Honda, who is now Mad Mark, because he obviously got a channel strike last week and can't do shows unless he wants to do stuff on Rumble, which I don't think he's even in town at this point. I think he's off in the woods somewhere with some kids and family and stuff. So
yeah, I think he's on a vacation.
Yeah. We'll be back, like I said, Sunday night around probably 10 o'clock Eastern or so, give or take. And doing some things here. We'll talk about some stuff. We'll be doing the second episode of Mark My Words in place of Mad Mock. So, which will be the network taking over. So
Skynet.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said though, reiterate one more time. Do not take the bait from the ATF. They are just trying to fuck you over.
Yes,
that free
don't.
tax stamp is nothing. It is not going to work out for you. They just want to have a roster to make you a felon eventually. Don't give them shit.
Don't.
Except maybe a big old dick pic. And it doesn't have to be your dick. It could just be that one black dude that has the huge schlong that they made a meme out of. So
don't give them any more of a reason to come after you.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, we'll see you guys on Sunday for that, for the Mark My Words #2, and then we'll be back some point next week with another grandstand and some other stuff. So till later, I will see you guys in the next one.
Later, guys.